Welcome to Right on the Money. I'm Rebecca Powers here with Tom Mosley. We call him the professor in the studio because we all learned so much. Great to see you this week, Tom.
Good to see you, Rebecca, always.
So, as you know, everyone is watching the news and very worried. The market is still volatile. Lots going on. What do you tell? Because I know your clients sleep like babies at night. How do you do it?
We tell them to run and hide right now. No, not really.
Don't watch
not
TV.
Really. The market is volatile, but
Yeah.
it's like everything else. You need a plan before you need the plan. And you need to, the old saying goes, is that the time to fix the roof is before it starts raining, and to be ready for something like this. And the biggest thing is that our clients have that built in to what their plan is all about. So when somebody calls up and they're concerned because, hey, they're retiring, that's all the money they're gonna have.
Yeah.
And I get it, I understand it, I feel it in my heart, not just my head.
Yeah.
And when they call up that way, we always tell people, we say, look, we get it, but if you've got a plan, you better not have built a plan that always thought that the sun was gonna shine. You better have built a plan for a rainy day or even a thunderstorm or maybe even a hurricane like we're having right now in the markets and all of the other stuff. So you need a total plan.
And so many people come to you and they've never even been given a plan, especially if they're with a big box that they don't hear from for 3 or 4 years. That was my personal experience. Does that frustrate you when you see people walking with a statement and assume it's their plan and it's not?
Absolutely. I mean, what some people don't realize is that a plan is spelled P-L-A-N, and a statement is not spelled that way. It's entirely different. They are entirely different things. And when you think about it, a statement is something where you're looking back on what has happened. When you enter retirement, you're going to be retired for a long time. I mean, people are living longer and longer and longer. Read the surveys. And when you know you're going to live a long time, you can't just always be looking in the rearview mirror of life. You've got to be looking out the windshield to say, where are we headed? What kind of plan do we have for the future?
All right, we get a lot of questions, and he's building a fan base now, and I love that. What's the difference between Roths and IRAs? Are they created equal?
Well, you could say, if you wanted to be technical, a Roth is an IRA. They are a qualified retirement vehicle, both of them, but that's where the similarities go away, Rebecca. A regular IRA, okay, a regular IRA has not been taxed yet. I mean, you got a break when you put the money into it. So you didn't pay tax when the money went in. It was like, okay, let's put it in there. In fact, you got a deduction from that money off your income tax that year.
Oh,
Whoopee,
really?
isn't that great? But the problem is it's grown for all of these years when you get close to retirement. And when you then start taking it out, it comes out as regular income. So you're taxed fully. Most of it's capital gains that you've had through the years that's taxed a lot of times at a lower rate, but you're going to get taxed on a regular IRA at regular income when it comes out. So in without tax, growth without tax, but it's a big gotcha because instead of paying tax on the acorn, you're paying tax on the oak tree.
Yes.
And so after it's all done. Now a Roth IRA, on the other hand, is exactly opposite. You pay tax on a Roth before the money goes in. And it grows for all the years that you have the money in the Roth, it grows without tax. And here's the really neat thing about a Roth. It comes out without tax at the end. So there are so many advantages to that you pay tax as it goes in on a smaller amount, growth without tax, but it comes out tax-free at the end. So the nice thing of it is, here's the question.
Yeah.
Can you stomach the taxes? And if you can, you go ahead and pay the tax now, and you pay a whole lot less tax later. So a lot of people now are looking at Roths, and I've told all of my kids that are 25, 29, 32, 44, and 45, I've told all of them, if you've got a choice, put your money into a Roth because you pay the tax now when you know what the tax rate is. Here's another advantage. Probably, in fact, if you were to come into my office and I were to ask you, do you think taxes will be higher or lower in the future, you'd be the first person to ever tell me that you thought they were going to be lower, because they're probably going to be higher. In fact, the tax cuts that we had in 2017, They go away in 2026. So in 3 years, they go away and they'll go back to the old rate. So we know they're going to be higher in the future. So paying the tax now is a double whammy for you to pay the tax now, grow it without tax. And just one more thing. The IRA is forever taxed as long as you've got money in there. And the Roth is never taxed. Now, where would you like to be? Forever taxed or never taxed?
Definitely Roth. We like him.
Right.
Okay. So when people say, I wish I would have known sooner that I should have been in a Roth, and you're going down the road, you realize you're going the wrong direction, it's never too late to turn around.
No, I've thought about, would I want to go back and be my 29-year-old son again? I don't think I would. I've just been, there's too much water under the bridge, as the old saying goes, since the time I was 29. It'd be nice to go back and to be able to undo just 5 mistakes we've made, and maybe putting the money into a regular IRA or a regular 401k might have been the issue. Now that's something we haven't touched on. And just briefly, I'll say a lot more employers are offering a Roth 401k. Same principle, Rebecca. You pay the tax as it goes in, but you never pay the tax as it grows through your working life, and you never pay the tax when it comes out at the end. So again, forever taxed when the money's coming out, or there's money in a 401k and you're taking it out to use, or never taxed if it's in a Roth 401k. And there's a really nice thing that's happening right now. Half of Congress has already passed what's called the Secure Act 2.0. And in that Secure Act, the other half is taking it up. So we really don't know what's going to end up in a final analysis.
Yeah.
But if they pass the same kind of bill in the Senate that they've already passed in the House, they're going to make Roth 401ks available, pretty much blanket to everyone. So everyone will have this choice, pay it now or pay it later. So a lot of people come and they say, well, I wish I had paid it a long time ago. But the point of it is, Roths have only really been around for about 20 years. 401ks and IRAs have been around for about 40 years. So, you know, most people who are retiring, if you're sitting out there and you're close to retirement right now, quit kicking yourself. You need to be able to sit in that chair for a long time. So quit kicking yourself, because they've been around only for about 20 years or so. And like a lot of things that are really gotchas, about 3 years ago, in December of 2019, they passed Secure Act 1.0, the preliminary act to this one they're looking at now. And when they did, they made Roth IRAs a lot more attractive. Now, back in the good old days, more than 3 years ago, you could put your money into an IRA, you could pass it along to your spouse, and she or he would pay tax on it. And then you could pass it along to your children or your heirs in what's called a beneficiary IRA, and they could take that money out, spread out over their whole lifetime. A friend of mine even wrote a book called Parlay Your IRA into a Family Fortune.
Nice.
But in that Secure Act, where, by the way, they were on television saying, this act is not going to cost you one more penny. And in the next sentence, they said, but it's going to put $388 billion every 10 years into the Treasury, more than now.
So where's that coming from?
Where's it coming from?
It's like a magic trick, right?
That's right. Because what they're doing now is, in a regular IRA, they're going to make your heirs take that money out within 10 years. So if you leave $1 million in an IRA, which is not unusual, if you leave $1 million in an IRA to your heirs, then you're going to force them, if they're making $100,000 a year and they just take 1/10 of that out and they never make a penny on it for 10 years, they're going to have to pay income tax for a whole decade on $200,000.
Wow.
So it's really a thing we're just trying to figure out, because they weren't clear. Do they have to take it out annually? Or can they take it out at the beginning or wait till the end? And they pretty much come out and said, it's pretty much your choice. But at the end of 10 years, that account's got to be zero, because they need all the tax money so that they can get that $388 billion of taxes a little bit ahead of schedule from what they used to. So don't be kicking yourself if you're saying, I wish that I had been in a Roth all this time. It wasn't that popular, and it really wasn't that super advantageous the way it is right now.
All right, well, let's tell our friends at home how they can take advantage of coming to meet you and what you're offering today. And let's give that phone number, Tom.
Okay, let me tell you something. A Roth IRA or a regular IRA is one little piece of a gigantic puzzle called retirement. And what we do at Mosley Wealth Management is we offer you the opportunity. We usually keep about 10 slots. I think that's how many are available this week for people to call in from this show. The number is 866-709-1462. Pick up the phone. You have to act. I can't call you because I don't know your number. Call us at 866-709-1462, and we can talk about this little piece of the puzzle. Are you in an IRA or are you in a Roth? And we can help you negotiate. We might even, I'll tell you, if you'll stay with us, I'll even tell you how you might be able to convert over into a Roth over a period of time and save yourself a ton of taxes. But I can't do any of that unless you pick up the phone and call in and schedule, and don't call in if you just want to know how do you spell Roth. It's R-O-T-H. Call in if you want to come in and see one of our advisors, sit down with them. We'll help you with this piece of the puzzle and all of the other pieces of the puzzle. Our number, 866-709-1462. Give us a call.
Thank you, Tom. It's so funny. And it's really a great offer because there is no cost, no obligation, no pressure at all, just a warm conversation. Stay with us. More with Tom Mosley and some great advice right after this.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have. By running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Welcome back to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. I'm Rebecca Powers, so happy to be with you. We were talking about the difference between IRAs, and Roths. Now we're going to talk about conversion. We're not going to convert you to religion. We're going to convert you
Right, I like it.
to have some tax benefits. So let's talk about that, Tom.
Okay, there are a lot of myths about Roth conversions because sometimes I just recently taught a tax class in the city of Cyprus, and I had 2 people came up immediately after the class and they said, well, I'm too old, I never started a Roth, I wish I had. Well, guess what? 2 years ago, I started a Roth for an 82-year-old person who hasn't been employed for over 15 years. You can, it's a myth, you can start a Roth at any age, and number 2, you don't have to have earned income to start a Roth. Now, there's one thing that's true. You can't contribute to a Roth unless you have earned income. If you're over 50 and your income is within certain guidelines, you can contribute up to $7,000 per year. Okay? But if you're under 50, you can contribute $6,000. So you can't contribute, he's right, unless you have earned income. And by the way, if only one of the 2 spouses in a marriage are earning income. The one who's earning, as long as they make $14,000 and they're both over 50, they could both potentially contribute $7,000, even if you're not working, but your spouse is. So you can convert. All of those things are true. But the thing that we want to talk about is not contributing that $7,000 a year, excuse me. Boy, it'd be nice to do $7,000
I wish I could afford that.
But not contributing $7,000 a year.
Yeah.
But we're talking about converting, and converting what we talked about in the first segment from an IRA or from a regular 401k into a Roth IRA. Now, when you convert, just like any time any money comes out of an IRA, there is a taxable event. You must pay the tax. But I want to challenge you to think about something. We mentioned this right at the start of the show today. I want you to take a macro view of taxation in your retirement, the overall picture, and not a micro view. Now, I love my CPA. He just moved to Nashville, so I'm glad he's not local and he can't be watching this show because he calls me 2 times a year. He calls me in February and says, Tom, get your stuff in. And he calls me in March, right before March 15th, when all the company, reports have to be in. And he says, Tom, I got your stuff ready.
Come sign it.
Yeah, I know. And then they're out playing, well, I don't know. I won't say that about them. But they're out doing other things. All of that, Rebecca, is looking in the rearview mirror at what happened last year. And your goal with that is, how little did I have to pay last year?
Right.
Now, I want you to convert not only your IRA maybe, but convert your thinking into what can I pay? How little can I pay in a macro view, looking down out through the windshield of your retirement? How much will I need to pay in taxes so that maybe I pay it sooner? Now, God forbid we do this, but maybe pay more tax now. And this is where it's tricky. You say, well, I could do it on my own. You got to be tricky. What tax bracket are you in? What tax bracket will conversion put you in? Because remember, everything that comes out of an IRA comes out as regular income and adds to your regular income. So for instance, if you're married filing jointly and you're at $83,000 thereabout, or if you're single and you're at $41,000 and you decide to convert 20 more thousand, you don't convert that at your 12% tax rate federal that you've been in up to that point. That all pushes you into the 22% tax bracket.
And that's why you do it incrementally.
That's
just
why you do
pieces.
it. Oh, you've got it. What you do is, let's say you're at $50,000,
Okay.
or you're already in the 22% tax bracket and you're at $100,000 of income coming in for the year. Well, that 22% tax bracket that you'll probably be in the rest of your life, that goes on up to around $180,000.
Okay.
And it's still going to be at your same rate. So maybe convert another $75,000. It's called tax harvesting. You harvest that out, pay the tax on it, swallow, because you put it into a Roth IRA, and yes, there's less money, and I'll tell you why a lot of brokers and people in the big box firms don't want to do that, but you've paid the tax on it then, it's now in a Roth, and it grows without tax the rest of your life. Watch this. It passes on if you are married to your spouse, or if you're the second survivor of a marriage, and you're single, then it passes on to your heirs without tax. They just have to take it out within 10 years without tax. I love it. Without tax, without tax, without tax.
Absolutely.
So it is such an advantage to go ahead and pay the tax. Here's the other thing. For those of you who are married, not everybody is, I know, but for those of you who are married, your tax bracket numbers are just about double. And when you pass away, in whatever year you pass away, your surviving spouse files income tax on your married filing jointly for that year in which you passed away. But the next year, their brackets go to a single bracket. You can just cut them in half, divide by 2. And like I said earlier, you're in the 22% tax bracket at $83,000. But as a single, you're in the 22% tax bracket at $41,000 or thereabout. So it's called the widow's penalty, because whoever's left still has the same amount of IRAs, still has to take out the same amount of tax because of required minimum distributions, but they have half the tax bracket to work with. So
Wow.
what we do is we work with people to let them sooner rather than later Add a plan that you have. That's a plan that's to your advantage. Now, the government has a plan. They want you, when you get to be 72, to start taking money out. And clearly, half of my people say, we really don't need that money. What do we do with it?
Good.
Well, you have to put that then into an after-tax account. You can't convert those required minimum distributions into a Roth. So you put it in an after-tax account. Guess what? It gets taxed too.
Right.
And then you leave it to your heirs over 10 years and they get taxed. We can clearly show you when somebody comes in for one of our retirement blueprints, is what we do for everyone when they come into our office. We can clearly show you where almost every time you can pay half as much tax on converting your IRA or your 401k into a Roth IRA on your terms and not the government, because the government's got that plan for you. But you can pay half as much or less by doing some tax planning. It's called tax harvesting. Taxes are on sale right now, getting it done. And that's what we'll do for you. Hey, pick up the phone right now. Say, that interests me. Well, saving money
should interest you.
Yeah, if it doesn't, call 911, okay? But if saving money does interest you on your IRAs and on your 401ks, and getting into a Roth sounds something that's intriguing to you, I can't help you unless you call us, 866-709-1462. We'll set up a time as soon as we can with one of our advisors. They'll sit down with you. Everybody's got a different amount in the IRA. Everybody's got a different tax bracket. Everybody's got a different income. That's why we need to see you face to face to look at all of your stuff so that we're not doing something over here that messes you up over here. So give us a call, set up an appointment. We will help you, walk you through like you've said so perceptively, not just doing it all at one time, but doing it over a period of years.
Thank you, Tom. And everyone, you also get that complimentary roadmap, that blueprint for your retirement. Stay with us more with Tom Mosley. We call him the professor right after this.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
And welcome back to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. We were talking about all these wonderful ways to save taxes and to not pay Uncle Sam and to not make your heirs pay over and over. Why is it so important, Tom, to do it right now?
Very important. We've already mentioned the fact that if you're 59 and a half to 71, that's a prime time to do it because you don't have those required minimum distributions that are going to be coming out that have to go into an after-tax account. That's one thing. The other thing is we've already mentioned that taxes are on sale right now. Another thing we've mentioned is if you're married, if you're single, you're stuck with where you are. But if you're married, you do have those larger tax brackets. But here's the big reason to do it. Most of your IRAs or your 401ks, I joke around sometime and say your 401k this year has become a 301k because it's down if it's in the market, if it's lost money, it's down about 25%. And some people might say, without thinking about it, they would say, well, why should I convert when my accounts are down? Well, you still have, unless you've taken money out, you still have just as many shares. And given time, please listen closely. I'm not promising anything, but given any time since 1896 when we had a stock market, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. The market has its times where it goes up and it has its times where it goes down. And when the time goes down and you've got fewer dollars and you're converting, say, $20,000 this year, you're converting a lot more shares of your retirement income plan. So now, until the end of the year, when we know we're down right now, would be a great time to convert, because if you converted 20 last year, you'd be converting a lot fewer shares of your retirement savings. But if you convert this year with the market down, you convert it, you pay the same tax on the same amount of dollars, but more shares, you get that over into a Roth. And guess what? When the market does rebound, it rebounds in a never taxed again Roth IRA. If you leave it in the 401k, or if you leave it in an IRA, then and you say, well, let me wait till it rebounds and then I'll convert. Then what you're going to have to do is as it grows back, you're forever going to be taxed on more and more and more until you finally decide to pull the trigger on this thing and say, let me start converting. But remember, you may not need to convert this year, especially if you're working and you're going to retire at the end of the year. You may not want to go out and you definitely don't want to go out and convert all of it, I don't think, because that push a lot of people into a really high tax bracket. You want to do it by a plan, and more importantly, you want to do it by your plan, because everybody's got a different amount to convert, a different tax bracket, a different income. You've got Social Security. By the way, when you convert, you have to be careful and not drive what you pay for Medicare Part B and Part D into a higher level. So just doing something over here and converting could really mess you up in other areas.
I hate to interrupt, but we're already out of time, Tom. We're just going to have to talk about Medicare maybe next week, Social Security, all those lovely things. Very quickly, explain the retirement blueprint, because that is our offer today.
The retirement blueprint, taxes is a major part of it. We go through income, inflation, we go through investments, taxes, which is what we've talked about in today's show, healthcare to make sure you're covered in the right way, and legacy, leaving it to the right family members, not your Uncle Sam and your Aunt Iris, okay? So here's what you need to do. Pick up the phone, give us a call. All of our meetings are complimentary. Hey, and if you're technically savvy, you can shoot that barcode that's down in the corner there and it'll open up a website. Set up an appointment to come in and talk to one of our advisors, because then we're working on your plan, not just information in general. We would be glad to help you. What they will do is they will give you a written plan, not a statement like we talked about earlier, but a written plan that will include taxes and will include and show you how much you might be able to save.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Tom. And thank you at home for joining us. We'll see you again next week.